Being hot in 2025 is not at all about being perfect. It's about being intentional and knowing how to pay attention, how to apologize, how to support, and really meaning it. And it's about showing up with care and curiosity and an actual emotional range. Honestly, that's the kind of hot that doesn't fade. It's the kind of hot that changes people.
Hey there, this is Women on the Brink. I'm your host, Chris Jeffrey, a registered acupuncturist and wellness advisor with a passion for helping women live happier and more balanced lives. When I'm away from work, I'm usually outside in nature, either walking the seawall or I'm hiking in the mountains. And like many of you, my life has been filled with moments of hardship, some that I thought I couldn't overcome and really left me questioning my own strength. But through these challenges, I discovered resilience, courage, and a renewed sense of purpose. So I'm here to share not just my journey, but the lessons I've learned, and to remind you that no matter what obstacles come your way, there's always a path forward. And just to let you know, this podcast is not prescriptive. It's an offering. So please take what resonates with you and leave the rest.
Welcome back to Women on the Brink, where today a little sass meets soul, and where our hot takes come with heart and maybe a little emotional processing. So, this is a topic that's steamy in the best ways, but not the usual surface level rom-com, motorcycle riding, bad boy kind of hot. No. We're talking 2025 hot. The kind of hot that turns your brain on before your body.
I like that.
The kind of hot that looks like honest conversations, kind eyes, boundaries respected, and a self-aware sense of humor. Because maybe you found yourself saying, like I have, I just don't know what I want anymore after you've been in a situationship. Or maybe you're starting to notice that kind eyes and deep listening make you melt faster than abs ever did. And if you're nodding, then this episode is for you. We're redefining hot, not by swipe right standards, but by soul standards. We're talking about how emotional intelligence is becoming the new aphrodisiac and how women, gay and straight, are waking up to the power of honest connection and how communication isn't just a skill, it's foreplay. And you know what? This builds trust. It sets the nervous system at ease. It makes intimacy feel like it's something earned and not just something that's expected. And when you feel safe, your body opens and your heart softens. So for me, this episode is part validation and part revelation because as I was researching this topic, I was like, holy shit, that's exactly what I've been feeling, but couldn't put into words. So you may be dating, partnered, healing, or just deep in your self-love era. But please listen in because the future of intimacy is finally here and it speaks fluent honesty. So let's get into it. The first thing that's the new hot is emotional intelligence is the new six-pack. And we've been talking a lot about emotional intelligence. You know, when I think back, I used to fall for the mysterious guy who didn't say much. Now, I really don't have time for that. I want the man who can regulate his nervous system because, I mean, that's what I've had to learn to do for myself, right? And I was talking to a friend of mine who went on a first date recently with a guy who said to her, if I ever say something that makes you feel uncomfortable, just let me know because I really want to learn. And she told me that she almost proposed to him right there on the spot because that's how low the bar has been, you guys. Not just, on the ground low, but buried 6 feet under with a tombstone that reads, "Here lies basic decency." His response wasn't revolutionary, it was just human. But to her nervous system, it felt like a warm bath and a weighted blanket. And I think that speaks to how starved we women are for emotional safety in dating. And then there was another friend of mine who told me that her ex once asked her, "How can I be here for you right now?" And they were in the middle of an argument. And she said it was the hottest thing that ever came out of her girlfriend's mouth. So I'm seeing and hearing that we are in our communicative partner era because it's sexy as hell. So maybe he cried during a movie. Hot. She knows her attachment style. Super hot. They ask, "How can I support you?" instead of, "Why are you so emotional?" Smoking hot. It turns out the era of the emotionally available softie is very much upon us. And I mean, a lot of gay women have been onto this forever. Like, communication can be basically lesbian foreplay, and straight women are finally catching up. We aren't swooning over the brooding, emotionally unavailable guy from decades gone by, right? And the bottom line is this: if you could sit in your discomfort without deflecting from me or gaslighting me, that's a great first step in becoming hot. Okay, so that's the first piece to the new hot. The second piece is curiosity over ego. And curiosity is sexy because it means someone's not threatened by what they don't know about you. Someone told me she once mentioned her interest in tarot cards to a guy she was on a date with. And instead of rolling his eyes, the guy said, "I'd love to pull a card sometime and hear what it means to you." And 6 months in, they're still having fun getting to know one another because curiosity is hot. Defensiveness is not, period. And the third thing, the new look is vibe over aesthetics. Yeah, I mean, of course, looks still matter, but the look now is all about intentionality and caring rather than flexing. This is the new chemistry between couples. So I'm going to pause here for a second, and I'm just curious if any of you have watched Love on the Spectrum on Netflix, because it's like one of my new favorite shows. There's two people that I have really fallen in love with, and one is Connor. He's on the American show, and Michael will melt your friggin' heart in the Australian show. And, both of these guys show how intention and honesty and emotional availability can be 1,000 times hotter than being smooth. And I was really emotionally captivated and connected during the last season. And here's why. Michael shows up to every date with a total presence. There's no games, there's no pretending to be cooler than he is. He's just himself, fully. He makes eye contact with his dates and asks really thoughtful questions, and even says things like, "I want to love and be loved," but with no irony and no armor or neediness. And that level of authenticity is so rare and frankly very sexy in a world where everyone's trying to act all detached. And one thing about Michael is he likes to dress up because he cares, not because it's trendy, but because he's trying to be respectful. He wants to make his date feel appreciated. That's the new hot. And when things don't work out for Michael, he processes it and he reflects and he stays open. There's no bitterness. It's just emotional growth. And, Michael is not just sweet. He's freaking bold. And we're finally realizing that boldly caring is way sexier than pretending not to care at all, right? And then there's Connor from Love on the Spectrum, the American show. And he's great in a deeply endearing way because he's emotionally open and very sincere and so refreshingly authentic. And he has a passion for animation and ancient history and quirky hobbies like sword collecting. But like Michael, it's his kindness and his willingness to be vulnerable that makes him incredibly lovable. And I got really drawn into his gentle spirit and his thoughtful nature and the way he earnestly pursues love and connection. And his personal growth throughout the series only adds to his charm. And it kind of proves that emotional intelligence and self awareness are just undeniably attractive. So I've taken a few of these attributes and added them to my toolbox because I think that being hot now is really about being thoughtful. It's niche. It's, I remembered your favorite scent, so I bought you a candle, or I know you love Dawn Air, so I surprised you with one for lunch. That kind of stuff, right? And the fourth thing is, I mean, we're all so used to talking about the red flags. Well, now we're paying closer attention to the green flags. And here's some that women are really obsessed with right now. First one, he offered to walk me to my car without being weird about it. And then there's, she brought snacks to a protest and labeled everything because she knows I have allergies. And another one is, she sent me a playlist and said, this reminds me of you. And here's my favorite. He told his guy friend, hey man, that comment's not cool, without looking at me for approval. Oh yeah, green flags aren't grand gestures. They're the small, consistent moments of respect, of presence and care, and in my opinion, a backbone. So stay with us after the break. We're going to talk more about what to look for and how to be if you want to be hot in 2025. I'm going to share a couple of my hottie favorites with you as well.
Join us on our website for articles from our podcasts at www.womenonthebrink.net. There you'll find extra tools that can be used to raise self-awareness and build resilience. We want to make this experience as interactive as possible for you Brinkers. So join the forums, introduce yourself, and share your stories.
Okay, what to look for and how to be if you want to be hot in 2025. I want to see a new type of hot out there. So we're moving into that juicy, empowering territory of how to recognize it in others and how to become it yourself. And now that we've established that the new hot is less about the six-pack at the beach and more about emotionally available and does the dishes without being asked, let's talk about how to spot it and how to become it, because hot is not a birthright. It's a practice. The subtle, thoughtful moves that say, I don't just want a connection, I want to know how to tend to it. So here's what to look for. Someone who's tuned into your nervous system. So they don't need a psychology degree. They just need to be paying attention to when you're overwhelmed or overstimulated or even shutting down. And instead of getting defensive, they actually make space for you. And a person can make space for you by offering their presence without trying to fix or change or rush you. It's in the way they listen, and not just to your words, but to your silences and your nuances. They make space when they ask you, what do you need right now? And actually mean it. So to make space for someone is to say, I see you, I'm not afraid of your depth, and there's room for all of you here. I mean, that's love in action, don't you think? And here's another one. They follow up. It's the, hey, you mentioned you were nervous about that thing at work. How did it go today? You didn't ask for it, but they remembered, and that's hot. Here's another one. They respond. They don't react. If someone gets triggered and says, can I take a moment before I respond so I don't say something I'll regret? Congratulations. Woohoo, you found a unicorn. And here's another. They offer support in your language, not in their language. So maybe you're not a hugger. They ask what would feel good instead. You don't like texting, so they call. This isn't about convenience. It's about really caring. They're genuinely tuning into your needs and wants and desires. So how would I try to be hotter? Well, first of all, I think I would use my soft power, because I'm feeling like I'm really ready to move on from I want them to like me to I like how I'm showing up in the world. And the big difference is I'm comfortable being who I am, and I'm not going to say or do something just for someone's validation or approval. I'm going to stand in my power now without it being aggressive or offensive. And here's another thing I can do to be hotter. I'm going to curate my attention and not my outfit. So what I mean by this is if I want to be hotter, I need to be noticing people. I need to listen without mentally drafting how I'm going to reply. Maybe I need to repeat something back to show that I'm paying attention or just to get clarification that what I'm hearing is accurate. Because this is rare and it's disarming and it can be really magnetic. Here's another thing I'm going to try to do. Say the thing most people are scared to say. And this is all about showing up with some vulnerability. And I think I've become courageous enough that I don't need to be aloof or defensive when I'm with people. I can say, I've really enjoyed getting to know you, or I'd love to hear more about that, or this conversation matters to me, or maybe even I don't feel there's a connection here. So confidence isn't about being loud or proud or opinionated. It's being real without all the armor. Here's another thing I can do is do some smaller things with bigger presence. So I can make the tea and fold the blanket they always leave on the couch or offer the last slice of bacon. Because these aren't acts of submission. They're actually acts of intentional connection. It's about having good manners. It may seem like a small act, but it's really, really impactful. And here's another one. Regulate, don't dominate. Now, I've been working a lot on my own nervous system recently. So I've learned to say to people, look, I really feel dysregulated and I need a moment. Or I can't do that today. It's just too much for me. Emotional fluency is the new abs. It's not always what people want to hear, but they can't fault you for being transparent or honest. And the other thing I really want to do is make people feel safe in my company, because this is the real flex. Being the kind of person who doesn't interrupt or dismiss or make someone feel small for being honest. It's being a soft place for others to land. Being somebody who others can breathe when they're around you. I mean, that's soul level hot. And I'll be real with you. I'm still learning this. I mean, there are people who hit my old triggers like a tripwire, and it takes everything in me not to armor up, but I'm working on it. And I'm trying to just pause and own my own stuff instead of projecting it onto other people, because this kind of work, it's hard. And it digs up all the old mess we thought we buried and, all the defense mechanisms and the wounds and the survival patterns we've been dragging around like emotional luggage. And I mean, yeah, we all have it. But by showing up anyway and trying to move through it with honesty and grace, that's a real glow up, right? That's grown ass hot. And this one I really love. This is radical self-acceptance. I think hot isn't about so much what I look like as much as it is about how much I own it. I mean, cellulite, yes. Some extra wrinkles, oh yeah, you better believe it. But then there's visible joy. And no matter what, it's magnetic. When we accept ourselves just as we are with the flaws and all, it gives others permission to do so also, right? Okay. So here's my top contenders of who I think is hot for 2025, besides Connor and Michael. Now, these two men, I'm just going to clarify that I haven't met them yet. So I'm getting most of my information from, what I've seen in the media and also kind of what I intuitively feel about them. So my first one is Wab Kinew. And Wab Kinew is the premier of the province of Manitoba here in Canada. And he's of Ojibwe descent, so I'm already a little biased being of that lineage myself. But Wab caught my eye on social media when I saw him performing the men's chicken dance in his full regalia at a powwow. And, he's hot in that deeply grounded, emotionally secure kind of, I've done my inner work kind of way. And he carries that rare blend of strength and softness. Someone who can lead a province by day and probably tuck his kids in by night with a bedtime story that includes some kind of a life lesson, He's very articulate, he's culturally rooted, and he's emotionally intelligent with the kind of presence that feels like a safe harbor. And, he has that calmness, that steady and anchored authenticity. And in the short time as a provincial leader, He's really made good on many of his promises. Now that is, for me, hot. And my second choice is Lenny Kravitz. Okay, stop it. Those of you who know me know Lenny has been a deep crush of mine for many years. And this is because he's effortlessly himself. He's ageless. He's unapologetically stylish. And he radiates a kind of self assured sensuality that doesn't beg for attention, it commands it. And he's really creative and emotionally open and secure enough to rock the leather pants with the eyeliner and a oversized scarf. He's got this, fluid type of masculinity that's both soft and soulful, but still totally grounded in confidence. And there's a spiritual depth to him that makes it feel like if you had a conversation, you'd end up talking about God and music and your childhood wounds. That's modern hot for me. Sexy with substance. So those are my two guys. But here's the other thing that I find really irresistible, and that is the New Zealand haka. You know what? My ex-husband used to call me into the living room to watch the beginning of rugby matches so I could watch the All Blacks perform the haka. And the haka is hot for me because it's raw and it embodies power with purpose. And it's not about domination. That is not hot. It's about presence and unity and emotion channeled through the body. So for me, watching these Kiwi men perform the haka is witnessing people fully in their bodies, expressing intensity and respect and grief and pride and ancestral connection. And that level of emotional expression and unshaken confidence and communal rhythm, hoo-wee, that's magnetic. So for me, these two men, Wob and Lenny and the haka, represent a masculinity that says, I know who I am, I honor where I come from, and I'm not afraid to feel and be me. And for me, so tired of emotionally shut down partners, the kind of vulnerability wrapped in strength is deeply attractive. And clearly, I have a type. It's not just physical, it's spiritual, it's cultural, and it's primal. And it bypasses the polished surface and goes straight to my soul. Whew, I think I need to open a window. It's getting a little warm in here. So the bottom line is that being hot in 2025 is not at all about being perfect. It's about being intentional and knowing how to pay attention, how to apologize, how to support, and really meaning it. And it's about showing up with care and curiosity and an actual emotional range. And if you're like me and it doesn't feel like you're quite there yet, that's hot too, because self-awareness is hot. Working on yourself is hot. Deciding to show up differently, habanero hot, because honestly, that's the kind of hot that doesn't fade. It's the kind of hot that changes people. So, fellow brinkers, please stay soft because your tenderness is not a weakness, it's your power. Stay hot in that emotional, intelligent, boundary making, soul nourishing kind of way. And stay kind because in a world that's constantly asking us to harden, kindness is radical. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being you, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for joining. And I want you to know that this isn't just a podcast, this is a movement. So share this information with your friends and let's go, ladies.